The 2018 NFL draft class is 4 years into their NFL careers, and what a night that was. This, in a lot of ways, has shaped the NFL today, and we will be going back and grading picks 1 through 16 in today's video. We will be starting with the 16th selection, which was when the Buffalo Bills selected linebacker Tremaine Edmunds, and finishing with Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, and this is a doozy of a draft class, so without further ado, let's begin. The Buffalo Bills selected Tremaine Edmunds at 16 overall, and this pick was acquired in a trade with the Baltimore Ravens. Tremaine was a very young draft prospect, as he played his entire rookie season at 20 years old, and is only a few months older than current draft prospect Kenny Pickett. And in Edmunds' young career so far, he has 2 Pro Bowls to his name and nearly 500 tackles. Now, the stat sheet does not tell the full story, as Buffalo fans know he has a tendency to get caught out of position, and there's also a reason why they haven't extended him. That doesn't happen by accident. He's certainly not a bad player by any means, but he's not an elite of elite linebacker, a B+ grade for Tremaine. Tackle Colton Miller was pick 15 to the Raiders, and he was viewed as a major project at the time, and Raiders fans know his first few years definitely showed why he was viewed that way in the draft process. However, the Raiders fans also know he had a Pro Bowl caliber year in 2021, and for people that hate the Pro Bowl recognitions, for players that often get in due to name recognition, this is an example of a player who more than deserved one but did not receive it. Miller looks to be the Raiders' starting tackle for the next few years, and he had a very high level of play in 2021. This pick worked out, and it gets an A-. The New Orleans Saints gave up their 2018 first-round pick and their 2019 first-round pick to move up to get Marcus Davenport, and aside from 2021, it did not look like it panned out at all. With Davenport, there's one singular season of decent production, and that's from this past year, and it's hard to definitely say this pick hit when he has just 20.5 career sacks, and where 9 of them were this past year. It's also worth noting he's never played a full 16-game season, or now in the case, 17-game season in 4 years. This pick will depend a lot on how he does this year, given it will solidify whether the Saints pay him long-term or not, but for now it is a C+. Duron Payne to Washington was selected prior to Davenport, and this was the second of 4 consecutive picks Washington used on their D-line, for 4 straight years that is, after Jonathan Allen in 2017, then Montez Sweat in 19, and of course Chase Young in 20. Payne has been solid, and there's nothing wrong with being a solid football player, as not every defensive tackle is Aaron Donald, nor are they the 4th-string defensive tackle on a bad team. Has he lived up to the number 13 overall selection, though? I think he is a key contributor, don't get me wrong, but Payne's not a franchise-changing player. Please know there will always be a place for Duron Payne in the NFL with his production, but you can't give this an A or A+ grade when he's solid and not elite or franchise-changing, and for that reason, he gets a B. The big boy Vita Vea is up now, and this is a lot tougher to grade than you'd think. On one hand, he is extremely dominant, and when you watch the Bucs run defense, you know that. But on the other hand, he's played a full season just twice out of 4 years, and when a player is nearly 350 pounds, and a nose tackle at that, they're naturally not going to play every single down. So when you put it like that, you draft a 2-down defensive tackle who in his own rights had a major transition period to the NFL, and true Bucs fans know Vita struggled in 2018 and 2019. However, what I will say is they drafted the force they have now, and Vita is truly one of the most dominant players in football and was compensated recently by receiving a $73 million extension, an A- grade for Vita. Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Miami Dolphins, not the Pittsburgh Steelers, was the 11th overall pick. So this is not a normal pick by any means because he was traded a year after and they did receive a first-round pick for him. I would grade that trade probably a D for the Dolphins because of how good he is and how much he would be worth in a trade now. However, the Dolphins did get a solid rookie year out of him and then received a first-round pick, which is good to a degree. It's more than can be said for other players. Minkah the player would be an A+, but for the Dolphins, in a lot of ways, this is incomplete. Gun to my head, I'd give it a B because they did get a solid year from him and a first-round pick in return. Now, Josh Rosen to the Arizona Cardinals was the 10th pick, or should I say the player that had 9 mistakes taken in front of him. There's no way to shy away from what Rosen is, and that's truly an all-time draft bust. There's no fluff. There's no, well, he showed this or that. There's nothing. He failed, and credit to the Arizona Cardinals for recognizing this and drafting his replacement immediately 1 year later. That showed true guts from their perspective to have Kyler Murray in front of them and take him rather than simply trying and saying, oh, well, Rosen's our guy. The only debate on this was to give it an F or a rare but certainly applicable F-, and we are going with the latter, an F- for chosen Rosen. Mike McGlinchey, the tackle from Notre Dame, went to the 49ers at 9 overall, and this in a lot of ways is similar to the Duron Payne analogy. He's a solid player, and there will always be a spot for him in the NFL because of how talented he is. But McGlinchey's not a multiple-time Pro Bowl player, all-pro player, and a franchise-changing tackle you pay $20+ million a year for. You draft McGlinchey in the second and you're absolutely thrilled with him, but 9th overall is something else, and for this reason, he gets a B. Roquan Smith from the University of Georgia went to Chicago at number 8, and he has been a beast in the Windy City. He has 2 second-team All-Pros in 4 years, and this is a perfect example of a player who has gotten snubbed from the Pro Bowl, multiple times that is. It's unfortunate for Roquan, but he is truly another dominant middle linebacker for the Bears in their storied history of the Monsters of the Midway, and 524 tackles, 14 sacks, and 5 interceptions from that middle linebacker position only start to show how good he is, an A+ grade for Roquan. Josh Allen has been absolutely everything you could have hoped for in a quarterback. He's an absolute beast on the field and off the field for that matter too, and has played out of his mind the past 2 years. He has back-to-back 35+ passing touchdown seasons and back-to-back 40+ total touchdown seasons, and will be a reason why Buffalo competes for a Super Bowl for close to the next 15 years. And I'd like to say wins at least 1 Super Bowl in the next 15 years, but you never know, although it is an assumption at this point. The only knock on his grade is a developmental rookie season, and he gets an A-, and I'm kidding, of course. Josh Allen gets an A+, and even if you want to say A++, by all means, he's earned it. Guard Quentin Nelson was picked before Josh, and what a back-to-back group of players this was in terms of how good each have been. Quentin was slowed down in 2021 due to injury, but he is now a 4-time Pro Bowl player and will continue to be one for quite some time. For anyone who wants to go with the old Pro Bowl doesn't matter, which in some cases I agree with, but not with Big Q. And I hope 4 total All-Pros, with 3 of them being first-team All-Pros, can start to show how good of a player he is, an A+ grade. Bradley Chubb from North Carolina State was the Broncos' first-round selection, who were also very much considering Josh Allen at the time. Now, Chubb has been a good player when on the field, as in 2019 he tore his ACL, and in 2021 he missed a lot of time after undergoing ankle surgery back in September. And as we know in the NFL, the best ability is availability, and Chubb unfortunately has not provided as much of that as the Broncos would have liked, which certainly plays a part in his draft grade. I do think Chubb has the talent of an A-graded pass rusher, but for today's video, Bradley gets a B. Corner Denzel Ward from The Ohio State University was the Browns' second first-round pick, which was acquired from the Deshaun Watson trade-up the Texans had back in the 2017 draft. Denzel is a 2-time Pro Bowl corner and will be in Cleveland for quite a while. He has 10 career interceptions and has had at least 2 interceptions in every year of his NFL career, which is honestly a lot harder than what it seems. Ward is a good player, but I don't think he's a top 2 or 3 corner in the NFL, and honestly I do think Browns fans would agree with that, and for that reason Denzel gets an A. Quarterback Sam Darnold was pick 3 to the New York Jets, and this was a train wreck, and it wasn't just due to Sam. While he was never going to be a top 2 or 3 quarterback, and I do think 4 years of work have more than shown that, Sam was in a lot of ways set up for failure. With the grade of Darnold, there is really only one thing that separates him from, like a Josh Rosen draft grade, and there was at least some production. Not a lot by any means, but Sam is not a true all-time draft bust, and an F grade for Darnold certainly wouldn't be fair to him, but for today's video, he gets a D+. Saquon Barkley was one of the best draft prospects we've seen from the running back position over the past 15 years, and unfortunately for him in a lot of ways, he's proved why you probably will not see a running back selected in the top 2 I don't want to say ever again, but certainly not within the next decade or two. He has been injured a lot, and of course that is unfortunate, but the team he's played for has failed him equally as much as he has been a draft disappointment. This is truly one of the tougher picks to grade of any draft class, not just the 2018 one, because when Saquon's on the field, there's plays he makes that only a handful of running backs, forget in the NFL currently, but in NFL history can make. But again, the best ability is availability, and there hasn't been a lot of that from Saquon, and 4 years later, this gets a C. We have reached Baker Mayfield, and what a roller coaster of a career he's had. Baker at times has been a good quarterback, but as we know, there's been times where he's been truly horrific, and now the question is if the Browns will pay him and give him the long-term extension. Now, I'd be lying if I said I think 2021 is an accurate representation of how he would normally play because of all the injuries, but through 4 years, you never know which Baker you're going to get, and that's even tossing 2021 aside. And he has been a huge liability at times, and more than he's been a huge reason for the team's success. And because of that, through 4 years, Baker gets a C+. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know which grades you agreed with and disagreed with in the comments. And until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.